Okay, it says recording.
This is task number 50, performing a dental prophylaxis and examination on a dog. I have my pack all open and ready to go. This kid was just anesthetized, so we'll give her a minute to absorb her ISO and get a little sleepier. So in my instrument tray, I have some DeBakey forceps and some needle holders and suture scissors. That is if we have to do any extractions that we can suture them back up. These are a little less traumatic than your regular thumb forceps, so they're good to use in the mouth. We have some iris scissors if we need to debride any of the gingiva, and also a blade holder if we need to create a flap. I have some wing-tipped elevators. Those are used to loosen the periodontal ligament holding the tooth in if we were going to do an extraction. Then we've got periosteal elevators, and that can help debride the gingiva from the tooth to create a flap as well. We've got a curette, which we'll be using to scale the subgingival calculus if there is any, a scaler for supragingival calculus, and then my explorer, if I can find any caries or if there's a fractured tooth, I can see if that enters the pulp, and then just an explorer here to measure subgingival pocketing. I've got some extraction forceps that we could use after we've used our wingtip elevator to loosen the tooth. We could then pull it out with these, and then some calculus removal forceps. So while I'm in the driver's seat, I'm wearing some PPE. I've got some goggles on and gloves and a mask, just because plaque is really just an accumulation of bacteria, and when I'm scaling that off, it's easily going to be aerosolized, and I could breathe that in or get it in my eyes. So we have this kid on a little towel here, this grate is pretty unforgiving. Also, we've got some heat support here, and if this were to get really wet, I'd be worried about causing a burn here. So this will help absorb all the water that is going to be coming out of her mouth. I also have a pharyngeal pack. After I do my exam, I'll go ahead and put that in up behind her endotracheal tube near her epiglottis, so that helps prevent aspiration of any saliva, debris, and foreign material in general. So now I can go ahead and evaluate this dog. I'm just going to start on the outside. We've got 4 salivary glands. We have our sublingual and zygomatic. We've also got our parotid salivary glands, and on this side everything feels pretty normal. Under here I've got both my mandibular lymph node and submandibular salivary gland, and feels pretty normal. I can definitely palpate the salivary gland, but it doesn't feel abnormally large. So moving into the mouth, I'm looking for any kind of ulcers. Sometimes if we have a heavy amount of calculus, we'll see some what we sometimes call kissing lesions. Gums look pretty healthy and pink. The palate looks normal. I'm going to look under the tongue as well. This is a good way to detect any neoplasia or trauma, and sometimes foreign bodies, you might see a stick stuck in there. Now that is all looking pretty good. As far back in the throat, tonsils look great, so I'll go ahead and place my pharyngeal pack, and then we can start scaling. Give me your tongue, kiddo. We'll put that as far back in as we can. Luckily she's nice and sleepy now, so I'm not too worried about her chomping down on me. Okay, that looks pretty secure. I'm just going to put that under the tie so it doesn't slip out. So now I can go ahead and start scaling. I'm going to start with my curette and just go subgingivally here and start way back here. These ones are going to be hard to get to because she's got such a tiny mouth, and we're just going to start with the upper quadrant here. And I might come back for that far back one so I can get a better angle. There we go. So the curette has a rounded toe, whereas the handheld scaler has a sharp toe, and I wouldn't want to use that subgingivally just because it could easily traumatize the gingiva under there. There we go. So it's a good thing I'm wearing my PPE because that big chunk could have gone right in my eye. And I can see here she's got a retained deciduous canine that we're going to extract while we're in here. Yeah, you got some gingivitis. And what I might have to do is come back after we extract so I can really get underneath here, because that is quite the trap for calculus. And I don't think I'll be able to get a great clean surface without removing that retained deciduous canine. So we'll do these 3 upper right incisors, and then we'll come in with the ultrasonic scaler to get the supragingival calculus. A little tiny one. Alright, I'm going to try to get a better angle to come way back in here and get those last molars. The 10 and 11 are hard to reach in these little guys. I might have to come at a different angle here. I know, kiddo. I'm actually going to come around this side and pull her cheek out just a little bit. There we go. Now we're in business. And after I've done with my scaling, I'll go ahead and use the air water syringe and look for any calculus, because blowing air on that can make it a lot easier to see if I've missed any calculus. There we go, finally got back to that 11. Alright, so now I can break out my ultrasonic scaler. It's got a very large tip that I wouldn't want to use subgingivally. Make sure I got my... There we go, and I'm going to make sure that this has less than 15 seconds contact time with the teeth. If I left it on longer, I could cause a defect in the enamel. I could cause some burning, so I want to avoid that. I'm going to stay parallel to the tooth. Just keep moving around. I never want to go like this because that would really easily damage the enamel. An awkward little canine's kind of in the way here. We'll come this way. There we go. So I'm just going to keep my scaler moving. I don't want to leave it too long on anyone's surface. Can always come back to a tooth. Alright, get back to those far back molars, the 10 and the 11. Alright, and I've got some stubborn pieces there. I'm going to come back with my curette and see if I can get those off. between these two teeth, I got a good chunk of calculus too. There we go. Okay, I'm going to come in with my air water syringe. So they're looking pretty good. I definitely still have a little left on this carnasial. So give that one more pass with my ultrasonic scaler. And so I do have a little bit here that is stained. I'll have the doctor take a look when they come in to remove this retained deciduous canine. That might just be staining as opposed to calculus because it's not turning white. It's yellow, it doesn't seem to want to come off, and it might polish off when we get to that point. So I'm going to just now do the buccal surface of these teeth. I'll come back and do the palatal side when we flip this dog. I'll also go ahead and scale and polish the palatal side of the opposite side of the maxilla when I'm done polishing this. So now that I've got those scaled and just one more time, see a little bit of white here. And again, I'm going to come back to this canine when we remove the retained deciduous. Okay, I'm going to grab my polished Prophy paste. Now this one, I only want to put about 2 to 3 seconds worth of pressure on each tooth because this is a very gritty solution. Here we go. So what I'd like to do is actually just apply the paste to the teeth so that I can just run back and forth. I'm not spending too much time on any one particular tooth. Make sure I'm on low speed. Excellent, okay. So I'm also going to be pushing up under the gum a little bit, or pushing onto the tooth so that the Prophy cup will flare up under the gum and polish subgingivally. Start with our incisors. Try not to traumatize the cheek. Sometimes we can get whiskers trapped in here. Okay, so we'll bring back our air water syringe. We'll give this a really good flush when we're all done. So I do still see that bit of staining on our carnasial, but the other teeth all look great. Okay, so I will take a minute to explore these teeth with my dental probe. Where is it? There we go. a little bit of pocketing. This is normal gingival sulcus. It's less than 3 millimeters. And that guy is not mobile at all. So I'm looking for any signs of mobility or any deep pockets. These all seem to be normal sulcus depth. And again, when I flip, I'll check the palatal surface of these teeth as well. Okay, I don't have any abnormal findings other than our retained deciduous tooth, so I'll go ahead and call on our doctor to extract that, get her opinion on this little bit of staining here, and come back and give that tooth some extra scaling and polishing once we've removed the retained deciduous canine.